All the people are looking at you just like you're looking at me. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Blue Jay Acres vlog. I've got the bathroom I want to get finished today. I've got the girls are out at their grandmother's house, so they are not home. 3 less bodies actually using the bathroom, which is a great thing. I can get in here and I want to do the ceiling and the walls and some of the trim. So I have to make some adjustments on the chicken coop. And our chickens have actually started laying eggs. So it's time to get their nesting boxes actually cut out so they can use the nesting boxes the way they're meant to be used. So a lot to get done this weekend. I'm going to try to get it timed right. I'm going to start in this bathroom because there's nothing more fun than watching paint dry. But instead of doing that, I'm going to let it dry while I do other tasks around the house. I need to actually sand down these walls, and I mentioned that on a previous video. Some of these walls are actually coated with, I think, an acrylic-based paint or an oil-based paint that it's cracking really bad, and I don't think that the latex paint I want to put up will actually adhere to it very well. So I'm going to go over all these walls first, the ceiling and the walls, with a 120 grit sandpaper, just very light to make the surface durable or rough enough for that paint to actually stick to when I put it up. I've got a can of white Rust-Oleum semi-gloss that I'm going to use on the ceiling, and then I picked up at Home Depot some scuff defense for the walls using some of the color scheme suggestions you guys suggested on a previous video. So thank you very much for that. And yeah. So where I'm going to start though is the ceiling, and I'll work my way down. First thing I have to do though is get a lot of these fixtures off the wall that I put up, the handrail, that sort of thing, so I can actually do some work in here and get some drop cloth down just so I don't get that ceiling paint on any of the fixtures. So I'm going to start working on that. And I will say I was going to stamp the ceiling and make it look good, but I think having a smooth ceiling in here with the semi-gloss on it's going to actually collect less water when they take their hot showers. So the ceilings are in great shape, so other than painting it in here, I decided that's where I'm just going to leave it at. So I'm going to get to it, and I'll talk to you guys in a few. Alright, well I am out of viewable space in this bathroom. I need to close this door, and the camera and I are not going to fit in the same space. So I'll be back after I finish sanding down the rest of the ceiling and the inside walls. Alright, well now that I got all that done, I get to have the fun job of going through and wiping everything down and get the dust residue off of it all. The fun we have before we paint. Well, as you can tell, I was not brave enough to try to paint this bathroom without putting some kind of drop cloth down first. So I figured better safe than sorry, but the ceiling is painted. It went okay, but I could tell there was a couple areas up there that I didn't get sanded very well because the latex paint did not want to adhere quite as well as it did in other areas. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think one coat is hopefully going to be good enough. I'm going to try to decide if I want to do two. I will say, those of you that noticed the drop cloth over the lights, I switched to LED bulbs so they don't really generate any heat, so that let me just kind of cover the fixtures up this way instead of having to take them down or mask them off. If they don't generate heat, it's not going to melt my plastic. So I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I'll come back and see if I want to put a second coat on it. And otherwise, for now, I'll just put these brushes and rollers in plastic bags to keep them fresh. And I think I may end up using what's left in this tray is a little bit of primer to go over top of where I put some of these other colors on the wall, just to kind of keep it balanced, even though I think the gray that I bought is a one coat coverage, but just to keep it consistent, I may dampen down a little bit of where it might soak in. So I'll be back. What do you need? Or do you just feel like making noise? All the people are looking at you just like you're looking at me. Which one of yous are my egg layers, huh? Alright, well, with these chicken laying eggs now, I need to do something with their laying boxes, their nesting boxes. So the one thing I didn't expect when I put this coop together is right above the nesting boxes on the side attachment, the birds are actually climbing on top of the nesting boxes. So they can't get in them because I didn't make it where they could get in the nesting boxes until they started to lay. But they're actually climbing on top of the nesting boxes. So I need to probably put some sort of a shelf or cover over top of the nesting boxes so they can't get down in, and then open up the fronts of the nesting boxes so that the chickens can actually go in and have that for when they're laying their eggs. So it's kind of my side project while I'm waiting on the bathroom to dry. So I have the inside area of these nesting boxes is about 40.5 by 13. So I'm gonna go see what I can find in the barn that I can make a, I guess a roosting ledge up in there and get that put in. So we'll see what we can do. All right, so I found this piece of subfloor that I had left over, and I think I can make this work for what I need. So definitely, let me see, if that was 13, 16 is good. 44, and I needed about 40.5. Yeah. Let me find a pencil and get this marked up. Alright, so I totally forgot that when I close the doors actually come in 1.5 inches, hair bit. So I actually need to trim down my shelf board. Or I'll just flip it the other way. Let's try that. That will work for these nesting boxes, but I gotta get a hammer to raise that up. You guys, don't go anywhere. They're so gonna try to escape if I leave it open. I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put on the support rails that I made for that before I put it in there, because I know it's gonna fit. Hello. Yes, I see you. I'll be out of your way soon. All right. So, what am I gonna do here? I think I'll get creative here. Turn that. Okay. Here. Yeah, got myself a nice little workbench. Next battery. I do not know if this is going to work well or not, but we're going to give it a try. Alright, so as you can see, nesting boxes just slide right in. Chickens can get in them, and they can rest on top. So that is the accomplishment for today. With the exception of, that latch has been coming open. So I've got that. And I buckled a little bit here, so part of what I did was grab help keep that tight. The last thing that I wanted to do in here was give it a good finishing touch up toward the ceiling and the top of the wall. And I think you probably saw in another video that I ordered my crown molding for that. Now, what I ordered was actually Alexandria crown molding, and what I didn't realize at the time is Alexandria crown molding comes in squared off right up here at the corner. Where the wall meets the ceiling isn't always a perfect 90 degree. So I went ahead and took this and ran it through the table saw and just cut off the edge right here, which gives it kind of the taper like a normal crown molding. And I'm going to get this put up. The other issue that I have is I've got one wall in here that is 57 3/4 inches, one's 58 1/4 on the opposite side, and then I got a 61 and a 61 1/2. And basically, I don't have square corners. So when it comes to actually putting in my crown molding, trying to get that crown molding squared up and looking good by doing 45-degree cuts isn't going to happen. In fact, none of the corners are actually going to be the same. So what I'm going to do is something that I stumbled across when I was looking up how to do baseboard, and that is to do coping on the crown molding. And I did a couple of practice pieces with this MDF crown molding that I have. So I'll record me doing it on one of the good pieces, and hopefully it turns out looking good. Practice piece, it took me 2 to at least get close on getting it right, so we'll see how it goes. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get these 2 shorter pieces up. Alright, well, before I close the video out, I want to make sure I give you guys a tour of the finished product. So you can see that we did put in a new shower curtain, which is kind of a frilly shower curtain, and I think it goes really well with this room. I absolutely love the crown molding in here against that gray paint, and the ceiling paint that I used is a little bit of a different shade of white than the crown molding, so everything really pops. Here's kind of another look at the crown molding along the side. We did add new bath towels in here and a new bath mat, so I'll get a couple of glimpses of those for you guys. Over on the side walls, I added the shelves, and you'll remember I painted the shelves white so everything looked kind of cohesive. Here's another look at the 5000K daylight bulbs that I put into the main fixture. And you'll notice the marble accessories for the dispensers and the toothbrush holder. The gold trim goes with the gold on the actual faucet, so I think those went together well. And I would not be me if I didn't replace the white toilet seat with one that was the matching color of the actual toilet. So I am very happy with that. I'm also really pleased with these light switches. The double paddle switches are a little different shade than the rocker switch, but overall I think it's good, and I've got my GFCI outlet in now, so I can plug in things like that toothbrush holder and it looks good. There's another look at kind of the way that I just accessorized, just to make it look clean, but also give a little bit of storage. And over here I did a biscuit colored caulking along the backsplash, which wasn't sealed before. I took it down the countertop and all the way down the wall so that everything was just cohesive and sealed and looks good. And lastly, the floors look so much better with the winter gray grout pin. I ordered more for the other bathrooms because I liked it so much. For now, I'm going to close it out with a look at winter coming back with a vengeance. We'll see you guys on the next one.